What's up, guys? Let's go over the wonderfulness of the TWAB. This is the TWAB right after the weekend of dealing with Vault of Glass re-release and their day one. The team who actually got world's first after doing the tempo challenge is, the Elysium team, those amazing folks with the amazing Salt at the helm, which is, great. So like most of this TWAB is like them going in depth on what went for their mind, what was the hardest part, and how much of their entire day was actually put into this raid race. On my side of things, during stream, we actually made it, we got to Atheon. So we actually got further than I actually thought what we were going to do, but the fact is we couldn't get the day one clear for raid report, or we couldn't even get through the Tempos challenge to get, the nice emblem that, was for day one, which is, it's what we'll try next time. For the next chunk of the TWAB is what a lot of complainers on Twitter and Reddit are wanting, which is the strictly PvP nerfs of Stasis, which most of these nerfs for Stasis on all three classes, they are primarily PvP oriented, which is really nice. Once they started dishing out some of these PvP specific nerfs, you could tell that they want to make the fun aspect of PvE of supers stay the same, while tinkering a little bit in PvP, which honestly I don't mind too much, because I don't really spend too much time in PvP unless there's a gun that I want from Trials, which that submachine gun still slaps. But for general Stasis, the Stasis freeze, reduced special weapon, heavy weapon, and light ability damage bonus versus frozen targets from 50% down to 5%. This is really good, so you have to still have the time to kill for all your weapons, but it's still a little bit of an edge. Also reduces all non-super freezes versus players to 1.35 seconds. That leaves it closer to how Warlocks were when they first got nerfed, which is really good. If you are slowed with Stasis, no longer reduces weapon accuracy, now increases weapon flinch when under fire. This helps, put that little focus on the skill gap while also still hindering the players who are actually frozen and slow down. No longer suppresses class ability and air moves. This is where people liked talked about when Icarus Dash got shadow nerfed. Well, the issue is still fixed, but there's still a known issue with Stormcaller's Ionic Blink. It's still suppressed when slowed. They will address this at a future release. It's a good thing they're keeping this out there. Reduces movement speed penalty while slowed by 20%. So you're going to be 20% faster if you're slow, which is really good. For the Whisper of Hadrons, no longer increases weapon damage after freezing, now increases weapon stability, aim assist, mobility, resilience, and recovery after freezing. Honestly, that's a little bit better for PvP. Honestly, it didn't really affect PvP so much, so these boosted stats will actually help a lot of players who are struggling in raids and nightfalls survive a little more. Whisper of Wine Fragment no longer provides overshield while in super. I still found that pretty odd when they actually gave us overshields in supers when collecting fragments. I would have assumed it was only supposed to be a PvE, a non-super thing, but it's a good thing they actually made this change. Bolt Snap Grenade Seeker no longer tracks targets after the initial target acquisition. Aim, increase arming duration before Seeker spawns from 0.3 to 0.8, and reduces detonation radius versus players from 3 meters to 1.5. The fact that they clarified it to be versus players still means that, PvE, we still got 3 meters, which is really good. Now bounces off walls and detonates on the ground. That could be used for some interesting, counter shotgun plays still, which is really good. For your Titan Behemoths, your Shiver Strike reduces flight speed and distance. Yay, they are actually toning down the 1,000-yard melee for Titans. This was the most annoying thing dealing with shotgunners. Reduce knockback versus players. Remove slow detonation on player impact. Cryoclasm now requires the Titan to sprint for 1.25 seconds before activating when not in super, and also removes the cooldown, which is really fun. So you can actually fly around quite a while with that. Howl of the Storm, reduced angle initiation freezing damage cone, reduced crystal creation freezing radius, slowed down the sequence of crystal formation to allow victims more opportunity to escape, which is really good. That's gonna help a lot of PvP players who still worry about stasis. Now spawns a small crystal on walls if performed into walls. that's cool. We can add some of that in there. Get a little more towards that, you know, wall nade action. So you can do that parkour and get to places. Glacial Quake reduces heavy slam vertical freeze range versus players, and damage resistance is moved from 50% to 47%. I still find funny how this is still getting damage reduction decreased just because how tanky these titans are in their stasis supers. Or your Hunter Revenant supers. The Withering Blade melee attack reduces slow duration versus players from 2.5 to 1.5. Yeah, pretty good. Reduce Whisper of Duration, slow duration extension versus players from 2 seconds to 0.5. That's a really big drop, but you know, it's only versus players, so we're still gonna have that in PvE. Reduces damage versus players from 65 to 45 after one bounce, reduced further to 30. Reduce projectile speed by 10%. Reduces tracking after bouncing off a wall. So you're gonna see a lot less hunters just spamming that ability around corners to get that instant kill or instant freeze, which is really good. Winter Shroud reduces the slow duration from players from 2.5 to 1.5, and reduces Whisper of Endurance slow duration extension from players to 2.5. Touch of Winter. Cold Snap Seeker no longer has increased movement speed or travel distance. Cold Snap Seeker now spawns a small stasis crystal on detonation, which the fact that they're changing that it makes a small stasis crystal lets us have even more of a overshield when we're not in super, which is going to be good for interesting builds. For Warlock Stasis, this isn't really most of the heavy nerfs, but because, you know, it's not really a meta subclass, but it still has the ability to like largely emotional toll your victim, because Twitter videos have been popping up where you're able to literally freeze someone 7 to 9 different times before they could actually do anything, which is funny on the player end that's doing it, but it's just aggravating when you're on the actual receiving end of that. Number Blast reduces tracking and proximity detonation size and tracking versus players. Reduces freeze radius versus players while impacting the environment 2.7 to 1.5. Isolated Bolt Seek now only chains once when spawned from a player's shatter pool. So, you know, it's not as much, which is gonna be cool for players. Winter's Wrath freezing projectiles tracking strength now ramps up from 0 to after 2 seconds. Okay, so it's not gonna last that much longer in, you know, in there. That's weird how it's only going to be lasting 2 seconds. Might have to test that out for a little bit. Next thing they added into the game is Expunge, which is a really cool new mission type. This is what it's going to be in the background in this video. It's just going to be showing how I got the under 10 minutes seasonal challenge done. This is me doing it on my Hunter. I did it on my Warlock earlier in the week, but they talk about the new Expunge missions. For the first 4 weeks of the new Expunge missions, players should expect to earn a piece of high-statted seasonal armor, in addition to some decrypted data on the first time through each mission. Once a player has earned their high-stat armor set by completing the first 4 missions, the remaining weekly Expunge missions upon first completion will reward a seasonal weapon with an additional perk choice in the final column instead of an armor piece, which is really cool if you still want to farm those weapons. Starting on June 15th, a new Pinnacle activity challenge will roll out, connected to Expunge mission, providing an additional Pinnacle reward source for each week for the remainder of the season, which is really good for people who aren't max level by June 15th. Me personally, I'm only missing 1 armor piece on Titan and 2 on Warlock, and then I'll be fully maxed out, so I won't need Pinnacles probably after next week, hopefully. For the hotfix, this hotfix will actually go live on Thursday, June 3rd at the daily reset. Some of the issues that are being addressed: the empty tank loss sector will correctly reward legs when they are advertised. This was like one of the biggest player disappointments before VOG came out, because the day before VOG came out, empty tank was given, you know, the legs before they announced that they weren't able to use the Stars Hunter legs. People just farmed those lost sector to get the legs, but it was bugged because you could only get helmet exotics and not the legs that were actually advertised. The Courtier gauntlets will no longer obstruct a player's view when using bows, and will appear again as intended. Archon Slender machine gun and Risk Walker shotgun can now be acquired from Lord Saladin, Lord Iron Engrams, bounties, and post-match Iron Banner rewards. This is going to be just in time for the next Iron Banner, which is really cool because that shotgun is really powerful. Some missed notes: remove the Glimmer lower cost to applying shaders, but it's really good for fashion guardians who just adore the fashion side of things. Fixed the issue where players were unable to use the join command on Steam. This affected only PC players, but it was the biggest issue because dealing with LFG, most people don't think of inviting the people in their actual post. Fixed the issue preventing Reverie Darn armor from taking shaders. I actually didn't know about this. That is actually peculiar. Reduced the kill requirements to unlock Null Composure's Gambit ornament. I kind of figured this just because when I logged in at one point, I just got the notification to just go visit Drifter and got the ornament, even though I was only at 14% the day prior. Fixed the issue with the Contender Plate Titan Chest ornament would not show up under Universal Ornaments for those who purchased the Guardian Gains bundle. The good thing those are showing up now. Some more issues that they know about. Shaders that came pre-built on armor, such as Iron Banner shaders, appeared before the default option in the appearance customization menu. Grips of the Exile Hunter armor does not properly display the effects of the magnificent Solstice gauntlets, which used as an ornament. Investigating issues related to several colorblind mode obstructions of the oracles in the Atheon throne room. Piece of light on the Star Eater Scales armor is not working as intended when stepping into a well of radiance. That is really tricky, just because, you know, especially during an Atheon fight, you're gonna want to step in some wells to, you know, survive while trying to use all your supers. Obtaining Exodus Dawn armor does not count towards the Red War Collection badge, which is a pity because, you know, you should be able to. Some weapons can be attained from the gunsmith are missing masterwork slots. This was actually a pretty fun bug that I showed a couple of people when I was running raids, and hopefully it's fixed soon because, you know, you kind of need masterwork stuff. The Cash Like a Beer chest at the end of the Vault of Glass may list incorrect perks and weapon types on available weapon caches. That is an issue for people who love running raids and want to collect all the things. And that is the TWAB for this week. Pretty much the TWAB is split up into two things, dealing with the raid that launched and the wonderful stasis fixes that, you know, a lot of the Reddit and Twitter communities wanted ASAP because they are tired, they gained one shot, and they act like that's never been a meta before. Anyway guys, I stream every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, dealing with mostly Destiny content, but mostly I'm gonna try to, you know, branch out a little bit, get into other shooters and other games that I have in my library. Anyway guys, overall, if you want to stop by and say hi, the link for that's gonna be in the description down below. And if you enjoyed the video, please sure to subscribe and have a great day. I love you all. I'll see you guys in the next stream, in the next video. Bye guys.